The sun beat down relentlessly on the savannah, and Jomo, a seasoned hunter, found himself unusually parched. He had been tracking a gazelle all morning, but now, his water gourd empty, his only thought was survival. He knew the risk of approaching the single, precious waterhole during the hottest part of the day. It was the primary drinking spot for all the local beasts, many far more dangerous than himself. Exhaustion blurring his vision, he stumbled towards the oasis, but as he dipped his hand into the cool water, a low, guttural growl vibrated through his entire body. He froze, looking up into the amber eyes of a large, scarred lion. Instead of attacking, the lion seemed diminished. Jomo, his own fear momentarily eclipsed by curiosity, saw the great beast favoring its right front paw. It was swollen, and a thick, jagged thorn was embedded deep in the fleshy pad. Forgetting his own thirst for the moment, the hunter slowly approached. He raised his hands, palms open, speaking in a low, calming voice to signal his peaceful intentions. Amazingly, the lion didn't move or roar. It merely watched him with a wary, patient intelligence, seemingly understanding that this human was offering help rather than posing a threat. Jomo worked with meticulous care. He knew any sudden movement could trigger the lion's primal reflexes. He used his sharpened knife, its blade reflecting the setting sun, to gently widen the wound around the thorn. The lion flinched slightly, a soft groan escaping its throat, but it made no attempt to lash out. It was a singular moment of interspecies trust, a delicate dance of pain and salvation. Finally, with a steady pull, the huge thorn was free. A thick stream of blood pulsed from the wound, but the immediate relief on the lion's face was palpable, its tense muscles beginning to relax. The hunter wasn't finished. He applied a poultice of crushed leaves he had gathered on the way, binding it with strips from his own cloak. The lion sniffed the dressing, its powerful snout brushing against Jomo's hand, a gesture that felt like a quiet blessing. Then, with a slow, powerful motion, the lion rose, the limp in its gait almost unnoticeable now. It paused, turning its massive head to look directly at the man for a long, profound moment. There was no growl, no threat. It was a silent acknowledgement of a debt, an unspoken pact sealed not in blood, but in compassion. The scarred lion stands fully upright, its paw bandaged with a leaf and cloth dressing. It is standing beside Jomo, the hunter, who is also standing now, looking at the lion with respect. They are facing the setting sun together, casting two long, powerful shadows onto the savanna grasses. The lion's large amber eyes are locked on Jomo's with a profound look of silent, deep acknowledgement. The style is a rich, detailed 3D illustration, perfect for a cinematic story. The desert wind began to howl, signaling the end of the day. Jomo gathered his gear, feeling a strange lightness in his chest. He had come to the waterhole expecting a struggle for survival, but he was leaving with a story that would baffle the elders. The lion, now moving with a restored grace, vanished into the long, golden grass of the savannah. It did not look back, yet Jomo knew the bond formed between them would endure as long as the rivers flowed. He walked back to his village as the stars began to poke through the darkening canopy of the sky. The air felt cooler, and the harsh edges of the day were softened by the quiet rhythm of his stride. His village lights were flickering in the distance like earthly stars. He found himself thinking of the lion's eyes, the way they transitioned from pain to peace. It was a mirror of his own life, often defined by the scars one bears and the help one finds along the way. Upon reaching the village, the fires were already crackling, casting long, dancing shadows against the round mud walls of the huts. Women were finishing their cooking, and the scent of roasting grain filled the cool evening air. Jomo stepped into the circle of light, his presence quiet and thoughtful. He was a man changed, though his physical appearance remained the same. He carried the weight of a secret, a testament to the wild, untamable heart of the land. The village elders sat in their usual places, their faces etched with the wisdom of many seasons. They watched Jomo closely, sensing the unusual stillness in his movements. One elder, Mzi, beckoned him forward, his voice a gravelly rumble. Jomo sat by the fire, letting the warmth soak into his weary bones. He felt the weight of the day's events pressing against his tongue, begging to be spoken aloud. He began to speak of the water hole, of the thirst that burned like fire, and the sight that turned his heart to stone. The villagers fell silent, the crickets providing a rhythmic backdrop to his tale. Every ear was tuned to his voice as he described the massive, scarred beast that stood as a sentinel over the water. They gasped when he described the thorn, the size of a finger, buried deep within the lion's flesh. As he spoke, Jomo realized the power of his words. They painted a picture for those who had never seen such a predator up close. He did not describe the lion as a monster, but as a suffering soul. This shift in perspective rippled through the gathering, changing their understanding of the wild. They were no longer just predators and prey. They were living, breathing entities tied by the same cycle of life. Jomo watched their reactions. Some were fearful, others were awestruck. He knew he had bridged a gap between the human world and the wild. He was no longer just a hunter who took. He was a guardian who had given back. This realization shifted his standing in the village. He became a man of stories, a bridge between the forest and the hearth. The night deepened, and the fire burned low, casting embers that floated like stars into the darkness. Mzi nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting the dying glow. He spoke of old legends, of how the first hunters made pacts with the great cats. Jomo realized he was part of a tradition much older than his own memory. He felt a profound sense of belonging to the land. Sleep eventually claimed the village, but Jomo remained awake for a long while, watching the moon climb high. He thought about the lion's paw and wondered if it would hold against the hard earth of the savannah. He hoped the poultice would last, that the healing would be swift and clean. It was a strange, silent connection he maintained with the beast. The next morning, Jomo returned to his hunting, but his approach was different. He moved with a reverence he hadn't known before. He walked through the high grass, not as a conqueror, but as a guest. He scanned the landscape with a keener eye, seeking not just the prey, but the signs of the life that surrounded him. Days turned into weeks, and the story of Jomo and the lion grew into a legend of its own. It became a lesson taught to the children, a reminder that courage is not just about the strength to strike, but the compassion to heal. The name of the hunter became synonymous with the balance between humanity and the wild. One day, while tracking a leopard, Jomo found himself in an area he did not recognize. The landscape had shifted, with new boulders and hidden paths he had not explored. He felt a familiar presence, a weight in the air that prickled his skin. It was the sensation of being watched by something powerful and ancient. He froze, his hand instinctively going to his quiver, but he did not draw an arrow. He waited, his senses heightening to the sounds of the bush. A rustle in the grass, a slight breeze that carried a scent he remembered from the waterhole. The scent of the lion, the scent of the savannah's secret heart. Out from the shade of a baobab tree stepped the lion. It was not the same beast, yet it was. The scar on its face was more prominent, a testament to time and battle. Its gait was steady, strong and confident. It looked at Jomo, and for a moment, the world stopped spinning. The lion did not approach him, but it did not leave. It sat down, its tail swaying rhythmically in the grass. It watched the hunter with eyes that held the history of the plains. Jomo knelt, placing his hands on the earth, mirroring the lion's stance. A silent dialogue passed between them, a recognition of a shared truth. This meeting was different from the first. There was no need for surgery, no need for healing. This was an encounter of peers. Jomo understood that the debt had been paid in full, yet the connection remained. The lion was a guardian, and he was a witness to its existence. The lion finally rose, turned, and disappeared into the brush. Jomo remained in his spot for a long time, listening to the fading sound of its footsteps. He felt a peace he had never experienced before. His life as a hunter had found a new purpose, a new rhythm that aligned with the pulse of the earth. He returned to the village, not with a kill, but with a renewed sense of himself. He did not tell everyone about the second meeting. Some things were meant to be kept in the heart, guarded like the most precious of treasures. He lived the rest of his days as the village's wise hunter. The stories of Jomo continued to influence the generations that followed. They taught that the world was vast and full of wonders that could not be explained by force alone. His life became a beacon for those who sought to live in harmony with the wild. The savanna continued its cycle, the dry seasons and the rains coming and going in their eternal rhythm. The legend of the hunter and the lion became part of the landscape itself, whispered in the wind that rustled through the tall grass. Whenever a young hunter asked about the greatest hunt, they were told not of the biggest kill, but of the greatest act of mercy. It was a story that defined their humanity, a story that served as a testament to the enduring power of compassion. And so, the hunter and the lion passed into the history of the land, leaving behind a legacy that served as a guide for all who walked the savanna. Their story remained a symbol of the fragile, beautiful balance that existed between the human and the wild world, forever etched in the spirit of the plains.